One Punch Man webcomic, chapter 151. Let's look into the future of One Punch Man as we continue the Mad Cyborg arc, where Wild Emperor, is now taking on Bofoi in a one-on-one battle between the technological geniuses of the series. And as we see, Bofoi is a robot. He may be the Mad Cyborg, or Bofoi may be controlling his body from a remote location. And on the previous chapter, since it's been about 9 months, Genos started to go a little crazy. He became unhinged as he was just destroying everything in his path on his search for the Mad Cyborg. Also, Puri Puri Prisoner fights Raiden in his Neo Hero battlesuit, which makes him insanely strong, and Puri Puri Prisoner got wrecked as the heroes took on the Neo Heroes and continue to do so. And finally, Genos found Boros in a deep underground station, one of which is supposed to be a station where the Mad Cyborg could be hiding. But instead of finding the Mad Cyborg, he found Boros, wondering if he's going to unleash Boros upon the world. And then finally, Saitama meets with Blue and he accidentally punches him, and he tries to pull away at the last second, but the damage is enough to completely wreck Blue's suit. First, let's start with the beginning of the chapter, going over to Blue, who is all beaten and battered and his hero suit is pretty much broken. He bumps into Saitama and he asks him to join forces with him, but Saitama, he's not going to do that. Everybody wants Saitama at this point to join them, to protect them, but Saitama, he just wants to do his own thing, and he tells Blue, yo, you should evacuate. If we bump into each other again, it could be dangerous. And Blue doesn't even quite understand it yet, but I think he will once they introduce Blast here in the webcomic. The thing is, in the webcomic, Blast was never introduced fully, like the manga. We only seen his back and some silhouettes. So I'm wondering if they're going to bring him in here pretty soon. Maybe not. Maybe they got to first finish this Mad Cyborg arc, which we'll get into here in just a minute. But first, we're going to go over to Pig God, who is fighting a giant monster, taking a bunch of hits. He's pretty much invincible. Damage to his body doesn't seem to do much, including bullets and such. And, even though he's getting blasted through, he can just eat and regenerate. And this continues a many chapter long war of basically the robots and monsters being unleashed onto the population of all of the cities. Some secret organization has both combined this army of robots, and they've been storing and housing very strong monsters, I think underneath the Hero Association. We did see a little bit of that in the Tatsumaki battle with the Tsukuyomi, as Saitama fell underneath, under the ground, and we saw him in a pit of monsters, and he's like, why is the Hero Association keeping all these monsters here? In any case, everybody continues to fight, and this war is still going on. But now we're going to go over to Bang, who is with Charanko, who is still weak, but he's still following Bang, who has just retired, but now he has to come out of retirement to fight once again. So now we're going to go over to the meat of the chapter, which is Child Emperor versus Bofoi. And in the previous chapter, Child Emperor, he ate a lollipop, which has since made him go kind of like Super Saiyan. You see his eyes bulging and his hair kind of flowing. There's this kind of dark energy around him. And Bofoi even knows that he took some sort of neurotic to perhaps help him utilize his technological abilities, way more, if he can increase the speed of his neural pathways or something like that. So he's going to be questioning Bofoi. He knows that Bofoi has unleashed these robots and he's a traitor, but in the beginning, Bofoi just denies. And this infuriates Child Emperor. He's like, what the heck? How can you just continue to lie to my face? We've seen all the damage on the monitors of the city. If it's not your doing, then, who else could it be? You call yourself a hero, you should be working right now. Why aren't you saying anything? If you're still a human, if you still have any emotion left, your heart should be moving your body, and you should be going out and saving people. And Bofoi just very calmly just kind of mocks him and calls him a child and says he's ridiculous. And in the meantime, Child Emperor is spazzing out. He's angry and confused, and he thinks that Bofoi is the root of all of this evil and destruction, and he thinks that he's a nuance to society. So they're getting ready to battle, and Child Emperor goes in on Bofoi about some sort of experiment with a bunch of prodigies, I guess similar to Child Emperor, who were killed or injured or something because of Bofoi, and he accused Bofoi of taking them as hostages, I guess. And Child Emperor says, "Bofoi, I'm taking you into custody," to which Bofoi replies, "You won't be able to. Nobody can stop me." And he says, not even one of the heroes. So he's pretty much almost admitting here that it is him. He kind of denied. And as soon as Child Emperor was like, "All right, I'm arresting you," he's like, "You can't stop me, like, in what I'm doing." So he's like, since you're a kid, go ahead and try your hardest. Child Emperor goes on the offensive, and he's able to create all of these robot fists that surround him. They're floating around him, kind of like hovering, like some sort of electro nanotechnology that he can control, presumably because of this neurotic candy that he ate, saying that it's probably controlled using brainwaves, detachable floating multi-arm weapon. But we see that Bofoi, he unleashes some sort of battle suit, and Child Emperor responds, "Is that the completed version? It's not that impressive." And Bofoi responds, "Well, that's not your final weapon either." So now they just go at it. They start attacking. Is this battle suit similar to the Neo Hero battle suit? Is it an advanced or perfected version that, you know, the one that Blue is using? I'm not really sure yet, but they're gonna go at it. And Child Emperor really is unleashing more of the attacks here. Bofoi doesn't really seem to be able to do much, but it also doesn't really appear that he's trying too hard. So this neurotic candy that Child Emperor ate is affecting him, and he says, "My brain tracks patterns and then accelerates the rush without hesitation. Infinite punches." So yeah, the candy, obviously it increases this kind of robotic power that he has, but Bofoi has an energy shield. He creates a barrier and he deflects all of it away. And it appears that many of Child Emperor's attacks finally start getting through the barrier, and then he's able to land some massive blows onto Bofoi, knocking him down to the ground, actually twisting his neck 180 degrees. Child Emperor saying, "Just as I thought, the man himself is weak." But that's when Bofoi twists his head around 180 degrees like the Exorcist, and he says, "You're cocky, aren't you?" So he's still alive. He is full robot. I don't think there is any human in him. And so the Dr. Bofoi we thought was the scientist controlling all the robots is in fact a robot himself. Who is controlling him? Is it the Mad Cyborg, or is there a real human Dr. Bofoi somewhere? Lots of questions, but it's pretty evident here that Bofoi is evil, and maybe Drive Knight was telling the truth. But unfortunately, we didn't really get a lot of answers in this chapter, just kind of getting us into the combat, which will eventually give us answers. But I'm happy that we got a webcomic chapter. It's been a very long time, like 6 months, I believe, or more, and hopefully one will start to pump these out. I mean, we gotta finish this Mad Cyborg arc. It's been forever, and everybody wants to know how, you know, who the Mad Cyborg is, and see Genos, you know, get his redemption, and it'll be exciting. So in any case, that was the video, and if you have any questions, let me know what you guys thought in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one.